So this is going to be the start of a 30-day series where I document, well, at least 30 days, but I'm going to document going on the carnivore diet, what happens, how it feels, how I'm feeling, the effects I'm noticing, and I'm just going to share that on YouTube. So what I hope to get from this is, one, going on the diet, you lean out. It makes you really, really lean, and I don't know, who doesn't like having low body fat? Besides that, I'm also looking forward to the very stable mood you have when you cut out sugar. Also, hoping to clear up my skin a little bit because I went to Asia for 2 weeks for my friend's wedding. You can't really see, but like I have a couple of pimples. I mean, the worst of it's over now, but I was just eating seed oils while over there because they don't really speak English, and it's very difficult to communicate to them that you want them to use olive oil instead of canola oil, because they're like, no, vegetable oil is healthy, and I'm like, no, vegetable oil is bad. But besides that, I am now back home and I can do the diets I want to do, and I'll be experimenting. Well, I did a carnivore diet 3 years ago. I did it for about a year, and coming out of it, I was super messed up. My gut, like I was nonstop diarrhea, really bad stomach aches. My electrolyte consumption went through the roof. I was doing like 8 salt pills a day, at least 8 magnesium pills a day, drinking over a gallon of water, just taking so many supplements, and felt off. And I was like, what's happening? Why do I feel so horrible? It is pretty much just because at the same time I was doing that, I was drinking 0-calorie sweeteners. Well, 0-calorie like Bangs, Monsters, a lot of those energy drinks at the time because I was addicted to them. And that is horrible for your health. My brother and I, he's continued to do carnivore, but my philosophy and what I've understood from it is that the artificial sweeteners I was consuming was causing a lot of gut issues, which then was messing up my body. Not to mention the fact that I was also consuming about 600 to 700 milligrams of caffeine every single day, which was causing my electrolytes to go all whack. But at the time, I wasn't necessarily thinking that clearly because lack of brain function. So I blamed it on the carnivore diet. And I mean, it took me literally months to get my digestion working properly again. And once you've been burned like that by a diet, you don't necessarily go back to it too quickly. Oh, the dock's a little shaky. I'm just out here on the water. But my brother's been doing the diet himself for I think a year and a half, maybe longer, for his own really, really bad sleep issues, which he's been able to get under control by doing carnivore, along with his green tea fasting protocols, which you can learn more about on his channel, which is Devin Young Week to Warrior. And I think I'll link it down below if I remember to do that. But I'm going to be following his advice, going through this whole process, and just acting as a human guinea pig. So the diet is going to consume no seasoning. It's just going to be green tea, and I take my green tea with a little bit of lemon juice and also some ginger. So it's going to be that with just salt and steak, and that's it. No seasonings besides that. No dirty carnivore, which is like the stupidest thing I ever heard, because people are like, oh, it's dirty carnivore, it's this or it's that. It's like, no. It's like you're either doing it or you're not doing it. And carnivore is carnivore, and what most people would consider dirty carnivore is actually just keto, but for some reason they still call it carnivore. But anyways, I'm going to be documenting the process. So far, Day one, I mean, I think it's been 20 hours since I last ate carbs. Feel perfectly fine. I had a nice big steak for lunch, which was great. And if you do want to know how to make steak taste really good, because at some point you'll get bored of it and yeah. My suggestion is get an air fryer. I use a Ninja air fryer, and I cook my steak. I salt them each side very well, very heavily, and I cook them at 390 for 16 minutes per pound. So just take the number of pounds and multiply it by 16. And you want to flip the steak halfway through that, and also let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes after the air fryer is done cooking. Ideally, you get a meat thermometer and you check it while it's going through this whole process. And you're looking, I prefer my steaks to be about 138, which I believe is, 138 is about medium rare. So I'll pull it when it gets to that temperature. I also debone all of my steaks before I put them in the air fryer, because I don't find the bone adds much flavor to it at all. And it also just really messes up your cook time. Like, if you cook a steak with a bone in it, the area around the bone is going to be a lot rarer than the rest of the steak, and you might wind up, if you're going for at least not raw, you might have a raw section right by the bone, and then medium to like extremely well done on the edges of the steak, which I just don't like. But get yourself a meat thermometer, an air fryer, and let's see, what else am I thinking about? Oh, yeah, keto flu is something people talk about. They're like, oh, what about keto flu? Keto this, keto that. It's like, no, electrolytes. If you're consuming your proper electrolytes, your magnesium, zinc, calcium, sodium, and enough water, I have not had an issue with keto flu since the first time I did keto. And even then, I didn't really experience it that much. I think most people talking about it do a disservice to others, because they tell, like, oh, it's a keto flu. If you go keto, you have to deal with the keto flu. It's like, it's not really a thing. It's like, it is low electrolytes. You might feel a little bit off, but everyone saying keto flu kind of scares people, and then they're like, oh, well, I don't want to do keto because I'm going to feel bad for a couple days. And it's like, not really. I mean, unless you hyper fixate on that feeling, you're not really going to notice it. It's not really like a flu. For most people, I think what it actually turns out to be is just like a withdrawal period while their body gets used to the idea of eating, well, of going without certain foods that they want. So you can kind of think about keto flu. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I would kind of think about keto flu similar to when you quit smoking or quit nicotine. It's like your brain still is like, oh, I want this. And then you're like, no, but we can't have it. So you're allowing your brain to think about how much you want certain foods, how much you want to eat it, and then you're withholding it from yourself. And if you've ever seen a toddler in a grocery store throw a temper tantrum because they can't get what they want, your brain basically does the same thing and can manifest symptoms in your body. And I know this because I quit smoking a couple years ago, and one time I went a day without smoking, and I had the worst headache, and my sinuses were stuffing up. I felt awful, and just literally like trash. And once I got home and I had some nicotine, the feeling went away. And I think that was solely because I was so fixated on the fact that I wanted to have nicotine, but I couldn't have it because I forgot my vape and I was on a road trip. But when I actually came time to quit, I read this book called The Easy Way, and it basically just says don't allow yourself to fixate on wanting it, and every time you have that thought pop into your head, think, I'm happy to be free. And when you do that, you basically cut off the thought, so you're not looping over and over in your head, allowing or focusing on that feeling. So I did the easy way. I quit the easy way, and it was super easy. Like, literally, I had the teeniest little bit of what you could call the headache. And I just took an Advil, and it was super easy to quit nicotine. And I had literally experienced some really horrible side effects before that whenever I tried to quit. So I do think that mind over body, there's a lot of stuff going on there. And just look at the placebo effect. Like, it is such a strong effect that we now have to test against it in every single medical study done. So you can use that same placebo effect to convince people that they'll feel bad when they start a new diet. And because they believe that they're going to feel bad, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I like what Wim Hof said. If you believe you can't, then you won't. If you believe you can, then you will. It's something like that, but it was in his book. And basically just talks about how humans, for the most part, are limited largely by belief. But anyways, day 1, going great. Make sure you drink enough water. Oh, one thing I also add is I salt my steaks very heavily. So I try not to eat too close to bed, because I find right after I eat my steaks, my salt consumption, the salt in my body, I'm consuming at least 5 to 6 grams of salt that I'm putting on a steak. So it kind of spikes the salt in my body a lot, and then I become really thirsty. So if I eat too close to bed, then I don't necessarily sleep too well, because I'm a little dehydrated, or at least the salt is imbalanced. So I wake up a couple of times and I'll drink an absolute ton of water, which also means I have to get up a couple of times to go pee. So I'll mostly just try to eat at least 2 hours before bed, or ideally 3 to 4. Then that allows me to digest for about an hour, and then after that hour of digestion, I'll drink a bunch of water, and then that gives me time to go pee before bed and kind of balance everything out. Let's see what else. Oh, some people dislike how heavy heavy diets make them feel. They're like, it slows up my digestion, I feel tired. To those people, I would recommend taking betaine HCl, which helps your body produce stomach acid and can help you digest and break down proteins and fats. Then there's also, what else? Oh, I know when I first did keto, one of the main things I disliked about it was after eating, the way my mouth felt. Like, it was just, it felt like coated with fat from the food, and I never liked that. And I was like, this kind of sucks. But I got used to it within like a week or two. It's just something I never grew up eating lots of fat. I never really put butter on any of my food. I never liked butter. After doing keto the first time, I now enjoy butter, and I'll put that on a lot of stuff. Oh, if you cook a steak, and then one thing that can make it taste really good is if you put some butter on top of it and spread it, and it gives it I'm not sure if it's creamy is the right word, but it adds to the flavor and makes it taste really, really good. Kind of like movie theater popcorn with all the butter and salt on the steak, which is something I highly enjoy. And then the actual steaks themselves I'm eating, I might do ground beef too, but I'm pretty much just sticking to T-bone, ribeye, chuck, and 80-20 ground beef. If you stick to those primary cuts and you make sure you buy ones that look decently fatty, I mean, Walmart has some ones that look good. You can go to different stores, check them out. There are some also local farms that sell good meat, and it's not that expensive. Plus, it can be grass-fed, which means you get more vitamins from it. And then one thing I'm also going to be doing is supplementing the steaks with, I might add eggs just for all the vitamins in the egg yolks. And for egg yolks, I'm weird. I prefer consuming them raw, due to, I think, cooking them, you lose some of the nutritional value of the egg itself. Similarly, I will also eat raw liver, and I have a video, I'll probably link that down below too, where I talk about how to consume raw liver. And the best way I found to do that, and it takes some getting used to, but holy crap, you feel cracked out after you do it, and you just feel great, is I'll go to Whole Foods, I'll buy, or a farm, I'll buy liver, and I'll slice it about, I don't know, a centimeter, what's that, 3/8 of an inch. I'll slice it about that thick, and I'll put that in like sandwich bags, and I'll lay it flat on a metal tray, toss it in the freezer, let it freeze like that so it's nice and thin, and then I will take it out and I will dice it into cubes, and then I'll put the cubes on a plastic spoon, not metal spoon, because the metal will transfer the heat to the liver, which then causes it to defrost faster. And I'm not heating up the plastic spoon, so I'm not really worried about any microplastics from it. I'm also not scraping it, which is why I do use metal here. But for the most part, I do tend to use why I use plastic here. For the most part, I do tend to use metal, glass, and ceramics in order to avoid plastics in my food. But I'll use a plastic spoon, and I will scoop that up. I'll put some water in my mouth. I'll put the liver in my mouth, and I'll just hold it there for about 10-ish seconds to allow the sharper edges on the cubes to soften up in the water before I swallow. And that way it doesn't hurt my throat, because all the corners are very soft. And I'll do that. I'll typically do 4 ounces at a time. And when I first started doing this, I did get very nauseous. I had a gag reflex, and I would almost throw up after doing it, and I had to keep it down. And now when I do it, I'm doesn't bother me in the slightest. It took 2 to 3 months to do it, but I find freeze-dried liver doesn't come close to the same effect you get by having raw liver. And I'll add a disclaimer in there of talk to your doctor so that you don't hold me responsible for eating raw meats and getting sick. But I've been doing this for 8 years, and my brother has also been doing it for about that long. He's actually been doing it for longer than I have. He's got me into doing it, and I've never once gotten sick from raw liver. And I make sure to take it. If I feel a cold coming on, I'll take it then. And one last thing. I will also be adding cod liver oil into the diet, which I'll take about, once every 4 days or whenever I remember. And for that, I buy pure cod liver oil. I mean, the taste isn't the best, but I'll do 2 tablespoons, and I'll pour it out into a tablespoon. I'll just do that all at once. I find that beneficial for joint and gut health. Sometimes when I do keto for a while or carnivore in the past, I found I'll get stomach aches. And for me personally, those stomach aches go away, or at least lessen a lot, if I take fish oil every day when I get those stomach aches. And I think that I'm not really sure why it is, but I think fish oil has soothing effects on the gut, and it's always worked for me. If you do wind up getting stomach aches, one thing I did find worked for me in the past was just doing deep belly breathing. But I don't think you have to get stomach aches. I'll keep you updated, and we'll see what happens. But Human Guinea Pig Day 1 out.